Welcome everybody to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide where we review all the shows and movies that get released on streaming, and of course at the end of the show let you know what's coming out so you can create your very own watch list. So I'm excited. It's a decent week this week. We got a co-host here who's gonna help me give out our recommendations for you guys because this is what we like to do. Of course, live from Houston is Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What's going on?
Brother, what's happening, man? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to everybody. Happy almost Labor Day's coming up, 3-day weekends. It gives you more
Happy
time
fantasy
to
football weekend,
fantasy
draft
football
weekends.
weekend, whatever. All the drafts are going on, I'm sure. As Chewy's already getting ready for next year, because
Yeah,
who are we kidding? Come
with the
on.
first pick.
We should do an in memoriam for Chewy's fantasy team. Maybe I'll do that shortly. But on that subject, there is some sad news coming out of in
I
memoriam.
knew that was coming. I knew this was coming.
Very, very sad news to about 2, 3 people out there who actually were fans of the show because me and Chewy were not really fans of the show. But I want to be fair to everyone out there. So, my condolences to all the Resident Evil fans on Netflix, of course. Very short lived first season released, in July, I think it was.
Yeah, well, yeah, sometime in the summer.
Yeah, in July. I mean, Netflix already gave it the axe. May it rest in peace for all those fans. I'm sorry to tell you, it ain't gonna happen anymore. Whatever.
Once again, we're still
Whatever.
waiting for a great video game adaptation. That's not called Sonic the Hedgehog.
Fair enough. But I do have great confidence in The Last of Us coming out next
We
year on
shall
that one.
see.
So
We shall see.
again, we'll reserve judgment. But I mean, I gotta look forward to something. Might as well be that. But yeah, Netflix. I can't. What a shocker! No, that show was not that good. Not surprised. But either way, let's move on to shows that are still going to continue. Particularly one here that just ended its run this week, but is already confirmed for season 3. Obviously, that's Only Murders in the Building, which ended its 8 episode run or 10 episode run. Sorry, this week, and we're fans of the show. We hopefully they sticks the landing. And I'll say this because I was thinking about this on Nurse Planning, which you do on Thursdays. We're talking about Sean Connery. Eric, my co-host, brought up League of Extraordinary Gentlemen,
Yeah.
and it reminded me of, oh man, that was Sean Connery's swan song, right? Where that's how he left us. That was his last role. He retired after that. And what a shame with a storied career ending like that. So I'm thinking about this show and how good this show is. And it was released recently that Steve Martin's going to retire as well, more than likely after he's done with the show. This is how you go out on top. This is John Elway when he's saying goodbye. Jordan when he retired a second time. The shot over. This is how you do it. You go out on top. This show is great. Stuck the
Wait,
landing.
hold on with that Jordan talk,
I said
because
the second time.
you forgot about his Wizards
I
stint.
said when he
And
retired the second time. That was very clear what I
no,
said.
you can't look, man. You
Whatever,
retire or
bro.
you don't. You make the decision to come back, and that retirement is out.
At that point, it was a story of retirement. It's like, no, Steve Martin maybe makes another movie in a couple years, for all I know.
Yeah,
So I'm just
maybe.
saying. But
Gotta
for
eat.
now, but what a way to go on top, right? With a quality show like this, it's so good. I mean, I like the way it ended. Great. Again, we thought we knew what was going on at the end of the ninth episode, and nope, the old swerve, all the red herrings they throw out, everything just works in this show, man. It really does, and it sets up. We got, minor spoilers. It's not a spoiler, obviously. Paul Rudd's going to be joining the cast season
Hmm.
3. He showed up at the end of this one. I love me some Paul Rudd. Chewy, how do you think this ended?
I mean, beautifully. I mean, this is such a well-written, entertaining comedy slash mystery. I don't know what you call that genre, mixing comedy and mystery together.
It's a murder mystery
Yeah,
with
yeah,
comedic. That's what it is,
yeah.
essentially, right?
No, it is funny. It's insightful. It's smart. The twists and turns at every episode where you're trying to find out who done it. And yeah, like I said, the ninth time they got us. They got us hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, nope, not so fast. It was just great, man. It's just such and the thing, and obviously I was concerned because how long can you keep up this type of show where okay every obviously it's all predicated on a murder, right? So the
Sure.
first season was a murder in the building, right? And then this season as well, but like were we going to get the same rinse, dry, repeat? But it's just a money grab. Season 2, let's go for it. No, man, this gave us a unique mystery, a unique whodunit, and with new characters that they introduced, little cameos here and there. And it worked, man. This is just such a great show to watch and enjoy. And now we get for season three, as you mentioned, Paul Rudd joining the cast potentially, or in some fashion.
Mhm.
But we get a significant time jump, right? I think they ended with a
A
1 year
year. It's a
ahead,
year. Mhm.
right? So they had 1 year of peace, and all of a sudden, oh shit, here we go
Here we
again.
go. I know. Selena Gomez said better. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And the murder takes place outside the building. So again, they're changing it up,
Yes.
right? So that's good. A building again would have been like three times. Come on. So that's good. And listen, and speaking of Selena Gomez, this is Latin Nurse Network. We give praise to her. She was so good this season. She was okay in the first. I thought she was okay. I mean, it's not easy going up against the likes of Martin Short and Steve Martin. That's a daunting task.
With storied career, especially Steve Martin. I mean, he's been
Right.
around,
Exactly. And forever.
circa,
They both have.
and
They're both
He
courageous.
was one of the original cast members of SNL, right?
Mhm.
With Dan Aykroyd and the crazy funny guys.
40 years, well, 40
Yeah,
some years ago.
at
Yeah,
least.
at
I mean,
least
I think
more. Yeah.
was his first movie was The Jerk. I think way back when he left SNL. I mean, that's
Yeah.
old
That's
school, man.
all. I mean, look, they've both been great, and to step in that shoes between those two legends, that's not an easy task. And she pulled.
Mm-hmm.
And this season, she was given more to do, and I think she was great this season. I really did. I think she probably wouldn't surpass them in terms of what her role in the show. Fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
good for her, man. That's not easy. Easy task. Great, a must-watch show. You guys should jump on this. 2 seasons, 30-minute episodes. It's great. Guarantee you're gonna get hooked, no doubt about
Mm-hmm.
it. Um, but yeah, so another year. It is what it is. Sometimes it sucks waiting this long for a new show, but whatever. But there's other shows taking its place, much like Game of Thrones, right? House of the Dragon.
House of the fucking
Dragon.
Dragon.
The GOT is back. It crashed the server apparently. For some a lot of people are trying to log on. The biggest
10
debut.
million, 10 million
Yeah,
plus.
I think it was
So
more.
that
I think it
just
was
shows,
12. Yeah, I heard it was
well,
12, but
whatever,
whatever.
12, 20,
Yeah, the
whatever.
biggest
It
debut they've
was
had,
the
obviously.
greatest debut. I mean, that just reaffirmed the decision to, yet continue the Game of Thrones universe by far, even in
Of course.
spite of its issues and in spite of people saying, "Oh, I'm not going to watch. I don't know what to expect." Even from you, my friends, you and Mr. Mike, the Great White Hope, had
I
conversations
have my
about
reservation.
concern.
I was excited about this. Let's not muddle the
Okay,
waters here. I was looking
okay,
forward to
okay,
this one. I never said, oh, I don't want to see it. I'm
okay.
always with it.
All
Um,
right.
First season, obviously, it's a prequel, 175, 76 years.
But 200,
You know,
technically 200 years before the
200
events
years
of
more or
Game
less.
of Thrones.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to be accurate, but either way, yeah.
yeah.
So obviously, it's focusing on House
It's
Targaryen. Yeah.
178 before the birth of Daenerys is what they emphasize
Right,
in
exactly.
the prologue.
Yeah,
But
more or less.
technically, it is 200 years before the
More
events.
exactly.
Yes.
Tomatoes, and I said this from the beginning. The first, one of the things, the second scene or the first scene after the prologue was it's a dragon. So I was already hooked. You got me already. Yeah, at that point, whatever.
Dragon, yeah, man.
The,
I'm
the
in.
show could have sucked ass, and I had to show me a couple of dragons. I'm happy ultimately at the end of the day, so that was great to see. But seriously, yeah, that I talked about this in Nurse Planning. I liked it. I mean, I'm not saying as far as say I loved it. It's too early to say that. Very good episode, set the table really well as far as okay, the game's afoot now. This show is about the Game of Thrones, right? The dragons and all. I just joke around. It's great to see,
Well,
but the
the
intrigue needs
empire,
to
the
be there, right?
conflict,
Yeah,
right? The
exactly.
houses, the family positioning for power. Even though Targaryens are ruling, everyone's still positioning themselves for a greater piece of the pie,
Right,
right?
exactly, and that's what the
And,
show is at its
mm,
best, right? At least the
yeah.
original show was at its best.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean,
Look,
it looks great.
dialogue was great, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was.
the back and forth between Damon and Otto Hightower at the small council, where he just, I read they fuck sheep. You want my caretaker? You want somebody to go around? It's like, damn,
That was funny.
burn.
Yeah, is it Matt Damon? No, Matt Damon. Oh my God, Matt Smith. I'm sorry.
Damon, yeah, Matt Smith playing Damon
Ben Damon, right?
Targaryen. I know you and Brazilian assassin putting your picture in these names, and I was like, you guys are killing me,
Yeah,
man.
I don't know,
You guys
man.
are killing me.
Me names.
Rhaenyra
It took
and
me like 4 or 5
Damon
years to get the names
Targaryen.
right. Who's who in the show? It is
Oh
what it is.
Lord.
That's on me. But yeah, but he's great on this show. He really is.
Mm.
Some great scenes in here. It's good. It's really good. It felt like Game of Thrones, right? Like
Yes,
you were back in that
absolutely,
world,
man.
and that's the important thing. Does this feel like it is while it's still doing its own thing? It's good, man. It's really good. I mean,
Look,
it is what it is. I mean,
I am hooked. I am loving it.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to Sunday nights like we did for 8 years prior.
yeah.
Must see
Oh,
television once again. Well, for that, well, even though we know, look, we still watch it. We still waiting for
of
those
course, still.
Sundays.
I
Okay,
mean,
okay.
you ate
I
almost
don't
the
want
whole
to hear
meal.
it.
You might as well
I
eat the
don't want
last few bites, right? Even if you don't like the food, you already eat. So I mean,
to hear it. You're
but
already full.
yes, but
Um,
yeah, for at least five
and
5 years, it was must
yes,
watch TV. No question
yes,
about it. Obviously,
absolutely. And now obviously at the first episode, obviously HBO, yes, season two, go start producing now, like no brainer.
of course. I mean, listen. this is the well is not dry yet apparently, and this is you got to make that money. Game of Thrones is your cash cow. Whatever, they're gonna do more of these. We mentioned before, and they're explaining about the Jon Snow potential show, whatever they're talking about.
Well, I think they've announced.
Um,
Well, I don't know if it's started production, but they obviously announced
they
Jon Snow
announced it, right? Things could always
past the
change,
events of
but
that. So
yeah,
not a Jon
but
Snow
yeah,
prequel. There
no,
is a Jon Snow
the
prequel.
intention is to continue this universe,
Yes.
or find what
Yeah.
like to people watching it, a record for them, of course. Duh. Is the anti-Resident Evil, right? So, yeah, good start to the show. We'll probably circle back at the end to see if it does what the last couple of seasons didn't do, and stick the landing. Um, so let's see. But yeah, so far it's off to a very good start, no doubt about it. It's Game of Thrones is
Absolutely.
back, and we're all excited about that.
Now, I'm just hoping that George R. R. Martin finishes those damn books. So I want to see how it's supposed to end.
Well,
I want his ending, not the double D's.
I think
I know, I know.
Netflix canceled those books too, apparently. They never come out. Fucking Martin. Either way, so let's go to the rest of the show. We're gonna segment to got a couple of movies to come out, a couple of documentaries, and a show and all that. So let's start with the movies as we always do. Game of Thrones. I allowed to go first because it's Game of Thrones.
It deserves its own platform.
Right. So fair enough. But let's go to Netflix. Me Time. Kevin Hart, Mark Wahlberg. Right? I like both them guys, and
Can I get some me time? Can I come back in 5 minutes?
oh man, this movie doesn't deserve any time.
No.
I mean, I think Kevin Hart. He's a straight guy in this one. He's a family man. Mark Wahlberg's his best friend for ages, who's hasn't grown up, and he's takes a lot of risks and throws parties every year, and every year they get bigger. They're skydiving, whatever they call those flying things. I forgot what they call those things.
Those are pretty cool, but yeah.
Yeah, but Kevin Hart, it's not his style. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore, and then he finally his wife kind of forces him to hang out with him one more time. Shenanigans ensue. Blah blah blah. This movie sucks. I don't know what else to say.
We were concerned about this combination of Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It just doesn't work.
It's not funny. At the end of the day,
I mean,
listen,
Kevin Hart and The Rock, that works.
that works.
Mark Wahlberg and Hart does not work. I mean, look, it had a couple of funny moments,
Sure.
where I laugh, right? And every movie does, where you have a couple moments where, okay, that was hilarious, that was funny. But in the context of weaving these scenes together, it's just like too far in between. It just doesn't work.
All the jokes,
Just,
you could see the jokes coming a mile away. It just wasn't funny. It was dull. Yeah, I can't say I'm disappointed because I wasn't actually looking forward to this one. But I don't, guys, please don't watch this. It's not good. I mean, there's other, a lot more mediocre stuff that's still better than this on Netflix. Believe me, in terms of movies, this is not one of them. So yeah, the next one, Samaritan. Amazon Prime. This is one where it was supposed to be theatrically released. And the minute it sold it, and we talked about this briefly last week, I was like, I don't like that. It's not a good sign when the studio sells the movie to a streaming service. And I was right. At least for me anyway. Stallone here. We got he's doing his. I love Stallone. I'm a big fan. He's doing his superhero movie. He's, I guess, a superhero called the Samaritan, who I guess he had an issue with his arch enemy. I don't want to spoil it because we'll talk about that in a second. But his arch enemy, and he died, quote unquote. At least,
well, his arch enemy is his twin brother. I mean,
well, yeah, we're fine.
I know. You say arch enemy, it's his twin brother.
Right, it's his brother, and he's the yin and the yang. They both end up dying in a big firefight years ago. Now he's kind of been on the ground, and some kid believes he knows his identity, and kid gets in trouble. And now, of course, Stallone's trying to save him, etc., etc. Wah wah wah. It's better than Me Time.
Well, that's true. That's true.
It is better than Me Time. I'm not gonna destroy this movie. It's just below mediocre. It's kind of dull. This movie it should have so much fun with this movie, right? It just had no fun. It took a while to get anything going. And the twist, from the first 5 minutes, when I mentioned brother, I was like, I know exactly what's going on here. And I was just waiting for that penny to drop, and it dropped. Oh, of course. I mean, it was so obvious. God, and it's just dull. It sucked. A superhero movie should not be dull. It should not be boring.
It's very bland.
It is.
Yeah, they could have done so much better with this and made it more, at least, they're more upbeat. But it's very depressing.
You have a kid who's like thinks he found a superhero. I should have some fun with that, right? And have a good time. They just don't. It's like it's just a label to watch. It's skip it, absolutely. I mean, if you got to choose one, definitely this over Me Time, because this at least has some cool action, kind of, whatever. Um, it's probably funny than me. That doesn't say a whole lot. But that being said, yeah, it made perfect sense why they sold this to Amazon Prime. They knew this was a dud. This wasn't gonna make any money. Bird in the hand, essentially. Amazon, I'll take it. They want content, whatever. But disappointing. I gotta say, I was kind of looking forward to it before. Now it wasn't. Just not fun. A superhero movie should be fun, and this is just not. Couple of documentaries. The first one, this short one, History 101 on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
This one, season two, was basically like 20-minute episodes. It's very short, 8, 10 episodes, and dealing with different subjects and in technology, politics, and like one of them anyway last year, or fast food. This year we focus on things like MP3s and dating apps and
GPS.
GPS and laser technology and his new, I guess, I haven't seen that one yet, but I see like 3 of them. But one that I guess to help people get pregnant, have different ways or whatever the case is. But it kind of chronicles, the birth of some of these things like the MP3s and how how it became what it was and what is elite now and stuff like that.
I remember all that.
Yeah, all that we were around for all that stuff from the very beginning. Things one about the water bottles and dangers of and all that. But very short, very entertaining, quick. It's an easy watch. I like watching this because this can be very dry, but they make it kind of fun, and they do a good job with the pacing. And then 20 minutes, an hour, you can watch 3 of them easily. So I
Mm-hmm.
like this. I always recommend this one, Chewy.
No, it's good. I mean, this is designed for our generation that wants pocket-sized bits of information,
Yeah,
concise, to the point, and entertaining. Right? You may not like the subject matter, but at least they do it in a way where at least you're informed and entertained at the same time,
right.
and giving a bit of insight if you're unaware of the advent of credit cards, right?
Yeah,
And where it started to where it is now. If you know nothing about the birth of MPP. Well, obviously, our kids don't, right? They've been around. They've had it
sure.
since birth,
Of course.
literally, right?
Yeah.
With the iPod. But before that, before we got to that point, there was a whole history there. And so, like I said, interesting,
Yeah.
short,
Short.
and
Yeah.
why I watch pop in one a day, 20 minutes of my day,
Yeah,
easy peasy,
easy.
lemon
Yeah, and
squeezy.
there's one where like you can just pick and choose which one you're gonna watch, right? They're all separate
Hmm.
subjects. If you want to watch 3 of them, watch 3 of them. But it's very entertaining. It's very well done. I actually like this one. The other one, the end is nigh. Bill Nye the Science Guy returns, or and sometimes referred to the show as the spoiler guy, which is actually a very funny line.
Bill Nye
Um,
the spoiler guy.
like I said, one of the second most iconic scientists right behind Walter White, as far as I'm concerned. This one is it is what it is, dude.
Oh
This one is
Lord.
about Bill Nye kind of is all dealing with natural disasters, right?
But
And
yeah,
for the
yeah,
most
these
part,
are dealing with 6 different calamities, right? So we have solar flare, right? We have obviously
tropical storm,
what do they call a hydra type of tropical hurricane type scenario. Obviously, the
volcanoes.
super volcano at Yellowstone.
Right,
So obviously, things that could potentially or on the horizon at some point. Maybe not
right.
our lifetime. Maybe not in our children like that. At some point, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and they
And
do a good job of like because they have this dramatization, I guess, this simulation that he enters, and it's all really well done, well
mm,
produced, and then the
mm.
dramatizing it makes it kind of funny. Some of the actors involved and stuff like that. Bill Nye is always very entertaining.
Seth MacFarlane
Seth
did that.
MacFarlane is in it, yeah. So Bill Nye's always done a good job with taking dry subject matter and making it fun and entertaining, right? This is no different. It's cool, I'm not saying it's gonna blow you away, but it's very interesting because he offers,
Yeah,
what the causes of such events and what things that could prevent it from happening down the road, right?
yeah. He
Right,
offers a potential solution,
right.
but I think he's using this platform to emphasize, obviously for the last couple of years, I would say the right side of the equation has just been bashing science, right?
Sure.
For whatever reason, and now we got flat earthers again. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? After all this time, I mean, what do we go back to the dark ages for
Those are
Christ's
the
sake?
ones who watch Resident Evil.
Yeah, exactly. But he's trying to emphasize, that even though we have these potential calamities, there are potential solutions
Mm,
if you just open your eyes and investigate and inform yourself and educate yourself on ways. Not everything is the end of world scenario, right?
right.
There's going to be pain and suffering, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel if you just simply listen to reason, right? Common sense might help
No, no,
in time.
I can't disagree with that. And it's a good watch. Bill Nye's entertaining. He's entertaining. He
Actually,
really
I
is.
like the little bell cow
Oh, that's right, the cow thing. Yeah,
anime
yeah,
where he explains that
yeah.
obviously I'm not sure if this is true or not. Maybe it's just urban myth, about the cow, tipping over the lantern and starting the Great Chicago Fire. But in some with some of these things, obviously human action does exasperate,
Hmm.
the eventual fallout from these events, and it's known to happen, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Things
what
like global
one
warmings,
change,
like
yes.
for example, right? Something that I think you touched on, but that could lead to these kind of storms and stuff happening. I get all that, right? That's all
Mm-hmm.
man created for the most part. But yeah, it's very interesting, very entertaining at the same time. It's funny, it's light. I
Mm-hmm.
can take this is really dry material. It really is if he boils down to it. But he makes it so much
Makes
accessible,
it
right?
interesting,
Very
yes.
very accessible, entertaining at the end of the day. So yeah, I like this one a lot. This is actually he's on Peacock. I think it's
Peacock, 6 episodes.
episodes, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think I've seen like
Yes.
three of them.
Mm-hmm.
Onto the shows. We got two shows here. One is something I didn't see. Get it? See what I'm doing there? See Apple Plus. I don't watch. See, I'm not a fan of C. I know Chewy is. I know, dude. Listen, it's early in the morning. What am I gonna do? And then everything's gold here. So Chewy got Jason Momoa, Aquaman himself. Season 3 is upon us. Chewy, your thoughts? Because I just not for me.
No, like I said, I've liked the premise since the beginning. This is the third and final season,
Oh,
so
third final. Okay.
yeah, this is the end for him. Obviously, Jason was moving on to other things,
I get
but
it.
it's a good, entertaining show, man. It's obviously the premise is that man has lost sight for whatever reason, whether man-made or by nature, or evolution,
Yeah,
and so they've had
Bill
to.
Nye hasn't touched that part yet, but I'm
Yeah,
sure he'll get to
exactly.
it. So.
Not yet. And so man has had to progress without sight. And now all of a sudden, for whatever reason, people are being born with sight again, right? So there's pockets here and there of people who can see again. And the conflict that is where now you've accustomed to being a certain way, and now there's a change happening again, and what that means as far as for the various tribes, the various people, and the power struggle to what is the new normal, for the word that we've created. Interesting show, very entertaining, a lot of action, very bloody, which you would expect from Jason Momoa, but or even from
Apple.
Apple Plus
Mm-hmm.
show, right? Because it's Apple is meant to be encompassing all family, all everything, with some good dramas and things, but it's very heavy on the blood and action and the gore. But it's like I said, it's good entertainment. It's up there with their Apple Plus shows, and obviously you haven't caught on, but if someone wants to jump on, it's only going to be 3 seasons. Why not?
I mean, people seem to like the show. Don't get me wrong; it's just not for me. But people do like the show, and people say it's good. So hey, good for
Mhm.
them. But yeah, it's Apple. Apple usually hits a lot more than it misses by a wide margin. So absolutely. The last one here, this one I was looking forward to, Hulu, and that is Mike. Of course, the biopic
I'm Mike
series.
Tyson.
Right, Mike Tyson, literally the baddest man on the planet, and now I think safe to say probably one of the most polarizing sports figures ever.
Up there. He's up there.
No question. I mean, he's an interesting life, and some people love Mike Tyson. He was the man back in the day. And boxers feared this guy. Professional boxers feared him. He's just that ferocious. Well documented what happened to him. All the stuff that happened to him. So this is a kind of a just typical kind of a account of his life, sort of. Don King, etc. Robin Givens, and we saw trailers were going to be in it. Of course, he was a big part of his life. What happened to him with the
Mhm.
whole situation. So yeah, so try to go first. What you think about the first couple episodes that dropped on Hulu?
Well, I was expecting hour-long episodes. These are only 30
Yeah,
minute
30. Yes, I was
episodes,
surprised. I'm
so
like,
that
whoa,
was
30 minutes. Okay,
the first surprise.
sure.
And so they've taken it from, I guess, I think a number of years ago he did these, not stand-up acts, but these one-man shows,
Hmm.
right? He went
Yeah,
around the country and basically was retelling, his life
his life.
experience, his life
Sure.
story, right, from beginning to end. So this is kind of taking one that, where he's in somewhere in Indiana, I'm not sure, it's 2017, 2019, and he's kind of retelling,
Hmm.
his life, right? And obviously flashing back with actual recreation of the events, right? With his growing up in New York and getting his ass kicked every day to finally turning the corner and then being discovered, right, while in juvie.
Yeah.
And the manager, his first manager who took him under his wing, saw something in him that said, okay, you're gonna be the world champion, right? You're gonna be the man. And obviously progressing his career to that point. Now, I didn't know most of this history, right? I think I came to know him when he was already, when he literally kicked Trevor Bevick's ass.
Yeah.
and going forward, but none of this happened before. Good to see Harvey Keitel
Oh
even
yeah,
again. I
yeah,
was
Harvey Keitel.
surprised.
That's right. Yeah.
He played Yamato, his first manager, his adopted father. Really, I think he did adopt him
Yeah. Yeah.
when his mother passed away from cancer. And so obviously that was that father son relationship that he never had, right? And so that was a big influence, at least in the early part of his life. Maybe if he'd been around, maybe his later life would have been a little bit different.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. When he died, and the show touches on that, you can tell it. He
mhm.
lost that father figure. He's back to where he was, right? And he became
Yes,
the
yes,
Mike Tyson that
and you can
that we know.
you can see the when there's chum in the water, the sharks come out,
Oh,
right?
right. Yeah.
The after when you don't have that central figure, the guy you look up to, literally look up to and trusted, and he said what he did and did what he said. Once you remove that element of that piece from the chessboard, then you have everyone else, all these sharks, the managers, the
Yeah.
Don Kings of the world, who
Yeah.
are just and they're in it for him. They're in it for
They all want
themselves.
a piece of the pie at
Um,
that point.
yeah,
And I'm
and
sure the show will touch on all the stuff that happened, which a lot of
yes,
stuff happened
absolutely,
with
yes.
finances and it's
Hmm.
sex life and all that stuff that went awry to say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
But
funny
look,
because
it was entertaining.
it
It was
was
short.
it
It was
was
to the point. It dropped 2 episodes, and the next new episode drop every Thursday. But he is polarizing. He's interesting. He is still well beloved in the public, and I say that because I mean, obviously, for a number of years we heard nothing about him. He still lives in Vegas, and
mhm.
and still has money. He's not poor or anything.
No,
But he
obviously.
came out. I think when he did a cameo in The Hangover,
Oh, that's
right?
right. Yeah.
That great scene at Helm's Line. He still got it.
I mean, he's still a name. People know Mike Tyson. He's iconic. He really is, right? Is he one of the greatest boxers of all time? Probably not. But he's those street.
Well, I would
I mean, he's not.
look.
He was he
You
was the
know
most
what could have
dangerous
happened.
boxer, probably.
I
Right.
mean, yeah, he might not have been the most technically,
Oh
the
no.
rope a dope, Muhammad Ali. He's still probably the top,
Oh,
right?
obviously.
He was a
Yeah.
tactician. He was a fighter. And he was a boxer. He
Mhm.
could adjust. He wasn't that, but he was
Oh
ferocious.
no,
He
dude.
was
He was fierce, dude.
feared. He was the youngest. He rose up to the ranks
Yeah,
quick
I think he was 20.
and kicked
Yeah,
ass.
20.
Yes,
I think he was
20,
20.
21. I mean, when he became champion, yes. He
20,
was only
21.
27-0 at 20 when he turned professional because he got, and, I still can't believe it, that he had a decision that he didn't go to the Olympics because of the decision, right?
Oh
He
yeah,
lost the final
yeah.
match. And you're
Remember
like,
that?
this is Mike Tyson. And like I said, amateur boxing and professional boxing, two different animals altogether.
Of course,
I
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
But he was
Oh,
a
listen, he
beast.
was an
He was
absolute
good
beast, dude.
fight. He was a rare combination where he had power in both hands,
Yeah,
right?
and speed.
Lefty, righter, speed. It was equal. I mean, there was no preference one or the other, it's hard to. But when you go up for points, when you can expect a punch from both sides, a knockout punch from both sides, that's like unique and
Yeah,
key.
I think if it wasn't for him, he was his own worst enemy. If it wasn't for that,
No, no, because
he
if
probably
he
could have gone
hadn't
down.
gone to jail, he probably could have been
He,
up the
he
greatest,
put up with
and
absolutely
that
right,
derailed his career.
absolutely.
That 3 or 4 years where he was in jail, that is obviously you
The
can't
derailed, yeah, even the whole
that's the prime.
yeah,
That's the prime of your career.
the
I
whole
mean, that's
Buster
like
Douglas thing. The stories
yeah,
documented he didn't take it seriously enough, and which I guess
yeah.
busted Douglas seriously. Um, yeah, derailed what could have been probably the greatest career of all time, which is what I'm saying. He's not
Mm.
now because he's just longevity. But listen, he's iconic as hell. People love him now. People love Mike Tyson.
Mm.
He's just this. He's just about, and he even came back from retirement to do that kind of exhibition fight and that drew big numbers. It's Mike Tyson, bro. Come on. So yeah, it's a very entertaining show. I'm enjoying it. It's not great. I'm not gonna say it's just a world changer. But it's kind of typical beat by beat. It's fine. We've seen it a
Mm.
thousand times. It's fine. But the
Mm.
character is interesting, and he's got a very he has a great story. A lot stuff people probably don't know about. That really happen
Mm.
behind the scenes. We know what he did in the ring. I get it. Some big stuff outside the ring. There's a lot of stuff in between that fill in the gaps as to why it led to this and that. So, yeah,
Mm.
good show. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, again, I think that's Fridays. I'll probably be dropping an episode
It's on
weekly.
Thursdays. It's
Thursday.
Thursdays.
Oh,
No,
Thursday. I
dropping
thought it was
Thursdays.
Fridays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Thursday. So there's a one episode, 2 episodes now, and I guess one a week until then.
Mm.
So that's it for this week. So there's a couple of good things in there. Next week is interesting week, big week actually. It's a big week because we got one.
It's a big week, not as far as quantity, but it's quality.
Right. Well, hopefully quad. The first one is going to be on the 30th, which will be on Wednesday, or Tuesday. I forget. It's on
Mm.
FX, Hulu, whatever. I know they combine it. But The Patient, Steve
Mm-hmm.
Carell doing a serious role, which he's done very good over the last few years doing this kind of serious roles. He's a psychiatrist or whatever, and he's got some kind
Mm.
of a patient who is, I guess, close to
Yeah,
serial
serial
killer
killer.
or something like
Yes.
that. And he's been interviewed, and I guess he kind of well, kidnaps him to listen to him, whatever the case is. Something that looks very interesting, fascinating. This one I'm really looking forward to. I've been seeing previews of this for like the last 10 years, it seems like. I was like, oh, it's finally coming out. So that was good. On the 30th as well, and we forgot to mention this before because this is the third episode being released of the Untold Netflix documentary series, which focuses
Yeah, we didn't
on
forget
sports
about
topics.
this.
Yeah, no, it's taking a topic in sports and taking a deep dive, but interesting stories. And the first two,
The first two were the Manti Te'o
yeah,
catfish girlfriend,
yeah,
which I didn't watch because I didn't really care. But the
it's
second one I did watch, which was the rise and fall of and
and one, yeah,
one.
and one was really, which why we were there for the rise of it and then the quick demise, but the
Mm.
details were interesting. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. The
Yes.
Manti Te'o one's is fantastic.
Oh, is
It's
it? Okay.
it's really good. It's the only two part of these that they have. Usually it's 1 hour or whatever close. This is like two-part series. It's fascinating as hell, man, and kind of taking a different perspective because when you're on the outside looking in, you're like, how could he fall for it? Oh, this guy. So, but I mean, when they chronicle how it happened and how it was done, you're like, okay, you know what? I get it. I see how this occurred and what happened and the aftermath and the media, social media, what the dangers of that now, obviously. Fascinating. This is maybe my favorite one of all the series. Is probably this one. It's just an interesting story and it's told really, really well. And you get and they actually have the person who bait and switched him on there as well, telling her side or his side. She's transgender now. Whatever side of the story and getting her perspectives, why he did what he did to him. Fascinating. It's really good, man. It's really good.
I'm gonna go back and watch
Yeah,
this.
it's just one of my favorite ones for sure. But now we got the one, of course, Operation Flagrant Foul. Tim Donaghy,
Mm-hmm.
who was a referee, who was a lot
Betting
of
on it. Well,
unsavory tactics. Taking money on the table to call games a certain way, and it was, NBA was we could make theorizing about that back in the day, and it ended up being true, at least with this guy. So I'm looking forward to this one. This is actually a very interesting story. And on the first, actually Thursday, not Friday. It's supposed to be on Friday, but it's actually on the first. Amazon's releasing it early. Rings of Power.
yes.
Rings of
Yeah,
Power.
these
Lord
first
of
two
the Rings.
episodes, yes.
Yeah, 2 episodes dropping. Actually coming on theaters, I think this week or whatever. The first reviews have been fantastic, but that's worth. Rings of Power finally comes out. I know I'm excited about this. This looks great. I know Chewie's looking forward to this. So we get Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones in the same weekend. Oh my god. Whew, contain myself. It's a lot. It's a lot there. So we got some Star Wars coming up, and it's all mixed in. It's almost too much to bear. Rick and Morty. But speaking of which, that drops next Sunday on the 4th. At night on Adult Swim, so we love that show. We'll mention it again next week because technically that's in 2 weeks, but whatever.
Yeah.
But on Friday on the 2nd, we got two shows. We got the first one both on Netflix. One is Devil in Ohio.
Hmm.
This is I think a limited series. I think it's a limited series.
I think so.
Based on true stories. Some psychiatrist who finds this someone who escapes a cult and she takes her in to protect her, and obviously brings in the aftermath of danger that comes with that. Looks interesting. All right, Netflix. This could be one of those run-of-the-mill thrillers that they usually do, but they're usually okay. Like Echoes was fine. It was good, entertaining. Come out last week, and the last one is Fakes. This is a comedy.
Yes, this is a
Yeah,
comedy.
it's I guess a couple of girls who get into the
Couple girls
business. Yeah, the fake.
yeah, develop a fake ID ring of some
Mm.
kind. So I think this is when I see this when I saw the trailer, it's kind of reminded me of the German one, the one that did the drug ring as
Oh
well
yeah,
in high
yeah.
school, or I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
How to create a
I remember. Yeah, I know what you're
how
talking
to
about.
create a drug online drug business, something like that.
Mhm.
It was it was based on a German teen individual,
Yeah.
so it's based on true fact. So it kind of gives me a little feeling of that, but maybe obviously, but made here in the U.S. That was an international show. The other show was dubbed, but let's. I mean, like I said, we'll catch it. We'll see if
Yeah,
it's
let's
worthy
see.
of one episode or not, a la Blue
Yeah,
Bitch.
this is on a this is on a short leash because I saw a little bit of trail. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give it a shot because maybe it surprises you. I'm very short leash. I'm gonna let this go really quick. But yeah, so obviously when I get to the fake ID business, things escalate, and then they're trying to get out of it or whatever, they get in trouble, yada yada yada. Whatever. Let's give it a shot. It is what it is. Let's stay with the weekend. Get extra day at home. Why not give it a chance, see what happens? Rick and Morty and Game of Thrones only one day. Still got another 3 days to fill. So, but a lot of good stuff here. So let's see. I'm looking for Lord of the Rings. I'm excited about that one. That's really the big ticket item. But I think the patient might end up being the best one.
From a genre standpoint, yeah,
Yeah,
potentially.
potential as far as a good hard hitting show. That looks really good. So hopefully that one hits. But that being said, happy Labor Day to everybody. Obviously, we'll do a show that week next weekend. But yeah, a lot of stuff to watch. We appreciate it. Subscribe, like, share, etc. And we'll see you guys next week.